necessarily haven't been playing at the same level as they did earlier in the year. But again, I think that's more of an ebb and flow thing. They're going to get back into the things. And again, we talk about constantly like how solid their just thought process around the game and how they build up their strats are, that they will always be a top contender.
Well, it's time to go to Speedway. Or maybe not. Specs will put a stop there just for the moment, and the information is there as well for the team. So Kirby will stop the efforts towards B, although there is one additional man on the way. It's Happy running straight into Kirby. Ooh, that makes things interesting.
This is... Okay, I'm still not sure what Scream is doing.
Losing the round, perhaps?
Yeah, that's definitely not a game-winning play. Initially, I think it was a very ballsy move of him to stay and wait for the rotation coming in from Astralis when Happy has the potential to pinch on Kirby. Because they've already moved one guy in Banana, so with Sipnik's gone already, I think that's... I think it's okay to assume that there's only going to be one more player towards B, so you pinch on him, basically, and even if you trade it out, you still get a bomb plant, and you have only one situation you could play off of. Instead, Scream runs back after pretty much Happy is clear at the B bomb site.
Ooh. This is interesting. I'm surprised Happy didn't go back towards the B bomb site.
They had to go pretty deep to get the bomb, though, so that might be what's playing on his mind, and now he's just waiting it out to sell the illusion of it.
Oh, that's interesting. I did wonder if Dupree would just stand behind the box and wait for a plot. Oh, man!
There we go.
He wanted the fancy way to finish things off. Nice.
Whoa.
Pent-up aggression there.
That's pretty BM. Can't be doing that.
Do you remember when that started upsetting people?
It was Get Right, I think. I think Get Right got particularly upset by it. I forget who was doing it, but...
Get Right's too nice. He should hang out with me.
Do you guys remember Shoxy after, I think it was FXCO's knifed Fifth Lauren, I think it was, on Cobble? This is like back in 2014. Shoxy got really angry at FXCO for knifing him in a situation where it wasn't necessarily, necessary.
Make that money, man. People are too nice.
Yeah.
Where are the thugs at? Hey? Where are the lads? Should go to UK lands. It would be nice.
Mad lads.
Yeah. Kishima goes to enough UK lands. He must be a twat now. Is he on a team yet?
What?
Is he on a team, Kishima?
Kyo's not on team right now. He played like some of the qualifiers with the mixed team with Smuya and Sivo.
Ah, yes, I remember.
Or Sivu, or however you pronounce his name.
With FaZe looking like a very complete team, I wonder what the options are for Kishima.
He's in a bit of an awkward spot where he's not necessarily French anymore, in that sense, right? He lives in the UK.
Well, I can join LDLC then. Alex is UK, right? But speaks French.
I mean, I think he's only UK and flag on HLTV, pretty much. I think he's lived in France for God knows how long. In any case, Kyo for LDLC wouldn't be a bad move, I suppose.
That'd be pretty cool.
I'm so sad that they failed to qualify for the minor because I want to see existent teams.
Oh,
Okay, this is winnable. Dan.
that's sexy stuff from Scream. Very doable indeed. Just more 1Ds. Why not? Scream has picked up a UMP though, so we might not see that. Work his way in. The spray, the double peek is good there. The CZ doing his job. It's just Kirby left. He's got maximum health against very weak players, so...
Is there a diffuse kit on the site, though? Because he doesn't have one. So this, yeah, like, time is not working in his hand. I think it's just giving up the round at this point.
Oh, wow. This is awesome there from Scream. Again, you never know when it's going to happen, but Scream's always good for those crazy one-shots, and that's going to win the round for ENVYUS. That's a really important reset to their CT economy. What do Astralis do here? I mean, they have to force buy.
Yeah, no, they can easily force into this again. Doesn't really do anything for you to do a clean save here unless you're banking on going a double op setup, which is highly unlikely on a map like Inferno. A lot of Mac 10s coming out from Envy.
Yeah, see how fast Envy play this, and there are a lot of smokes here for Astralis, and they haven't deployed any of them yet, so maybe this action towards the B-bomb site will make them slow things down. Device has a smoke grenade in tow. Not sure if his teammate does. Indeed, Glaze does. So, Team Astralis maybe wanting to play the long game with these smoke grenades. Still haven't deployed them towards B just yet. So, it does seem that Astralis will want to run the clock down as much as possible, but they have to avoid losing another player. If it's a 5 versus 3, that may speed things up for Envy. Still 2 smokes here for Astralis.
Unfortunate timing for Device right there, and that's going to be the end of him. That's an easy bomb set for ENVYUS.
Yeah, that was really a good detail for them to go contact, because they know that Astralis are looking for the information to then throw the smoke. But if they see it on contact, that's too late, as we saw.
Yeah.
So it's a really good counterplay to when CTs like buy up the smokes and so on. Although if you are running into a stack, then you're probably still going to die. But
I have to risk it a little bit.
Well, yeah, 5 versus 3, I think, is the green light.
yeah, nice small details.
Much better anti-eco this time around, at least from ENVYUS, than what we saw on Train. Train, they constantly got badgered down to like 1 or 2 players remaining. Never really got that economy settled. Obviously, it's going to be easier on the T side as well to build up a bit of an economy, but always helps to boost your confidence. Scream as well, especially because he had a very slow game on Train. So for him to get off to a hot start is obviously very beneficial for them.
So ENVYUS sometimes they go 3 to 5 Mac 10s in anti-ecos, right?
Yeah.
They're the only team in the professional scene, I think, that does that. So
they are the team that brought out the round 4, 5 Mac 10 cobble B rush as well. So
yeah,
they do have a bit of a wonky approach to how they do it, and I think in certain situations, especially in a round where it's very evident that Astralis lose nothing by actually forcing up like they did in the previous round, I think it might be a bit too heavy at going 3+ Mac 10s.
Yeah, but in this round, I guess it's fine.
Yeah,
so.
again, but you kind of just don't want to take a bit of a too long of a step really and outplay yourself in that sense. Because you do know how strong pistols are. Like if I had to choose between a ZZ and a Mac 10 and I could get Kev on both options, I'd go with the ZZ every single time. Now Astralis basically having nothing to play for or play with. Just gonna stack up on that B bomb site. Scream is already cleared up B, so I'm assuming you're gonna see rotation from Sixer any second now and just leave RPK and Banana.
Time for Scream to make some money. Oh, spots 2, I think. Not spotted a single thing, so easy kill there. And then a follow-up as well. Getting those taps on the UMP. Tap, tap, tap.
That's where Kirby is as well.
Ooh. Yes, I was hoping Scream would get a taste of his own medicine. The eagle to the face.
It's 1v2, go for it, Kiabi, go! Go, Kiabi!
Believe in yourself. I still has head Kev that he might want to hang on to into the next round.
Go, be like the wind, go, be free.
Not having any of it.
He's taking the sensible route.
Yeah, and
Someone
honestly,
has to be sensible, not going to be me.
and in any case, if you're Envy in this situation, you don't want to hunt for it. It's not worth it. Even though you remove head Kev on Kirby, is still going to have a solid buy because of the 3 kills. And yeah, you've already lost 3 players on Envy's side. For UMP as well.
It's a pretty big effort by Kirby, to be honest. It does hurt the money of quite a bit of ENVYUS, so...
Oh, we're seeing the ultimate greed play coming out from ENVYUS as well. Or no, okay, they're going to swap out at least one of the Mac 10s here. XMS sticking on with him though, so we'll see if he is going to be used as a bit of a meat shield as he try to get contact somewhere.
I do like it because just 5 AKs, you don't have the running gun accuracy of the Mac 10, so having that like Ellie's first man can be pretty useful. Oh, the grenades, the counter grenades are fantastic by Astralis. They totally outplay ENVYUS on Banana. But ENVYUS looking to double down to force the issue. And that's probably wise because they have given up 2 players already. You can't really just leave Banana after that. Have to get something out of those 2 players. And they have top Banana now, but they have no control towards top mid. And Astralis know that. Right now, Astralis are playing ENVYUS. They have all the information.
And if you're Envy, you're kind of, well, because you've lost 2 members, you don't really have all the utility you need because you've spent so much actually regaining Banana control that they're in a situation where they more or less have to base their entire round on contact plays. That's why we're seeing them being kind of spread out happy, hoping if you can find one pick that's going to create a rotation and eventually they can go towards B. But I think the only option really they have here that could potentially work is a contact play towards B. Issue is that they do have Device posted up on coils with an op.
And Happy did something quite interesting there. Instead of showing himself, which, I mean, if he shows himself, it would definitely be the lurk. He just makes a step. And because there's no confirmation of information after the step, visual confirmation, they can't know if it's going to be the full A rotation or not. And it allows them to come into B with 3 men, so that's pretty nice, but you still have to just beat the defense, and they can't do it. So it's around to Astralis. ENVYUS in a hopeless spot, and Astralis played it perfectly by the book.
Yeah. Now we're seeing a little bit of the result of losing a couple of members there in that 3rd round. On ENVYUS side, RPK only really being able to buy a AK if he wants to buy up for himself, but Scream probably going to drop off one of them, unless they're deciding to go with an op. No, nobody's actually donating a weapon for RPK for no good reason.
What?
Scream had 9.4k.
Scream.
Yeah, no.
Come on, man.
This is...
Come on. You can't be doing this.
So when we talk about, you know, managing your economy as a bit of a basic concept of Counter-Strike, and it seems like these French teams like always find a way to surprise us with how they do it.
It's RPK. Give him the AK.
Yeah.
Someone give him the AK. He's like the MVP.
This is the weirdest thing that I have seen in a recent memory.
It just doesn't make sense on any level. I guess the only the stretch you can go for is that Scream wants to save up for an op for either Happy or Sixer in an upcoming round.
Or they just want someone to be able to do that, basically, just be shielded up.
You can do that with an AK as well, though.
You can, yes.
RPK's a tank. He does that with the AK.
But the tank has firepower, right? Like that's why you provide it with a massive, massive missile.
What a weird. I'm so confused. I mean, there's 6 of them, right? There's 5 of them plus the coach. How is this a reality? 2-1-2, Happy and Sixer trying to show that they don't need no RPK, and perhaps they don't because, well, there we go.
I mean, the only thing...
It means it wasn't a mistake.
Well, the only thing that I can see is that there's 2 things. Is one, RPK is just insanely quiet on comms and just didn't say anything. Or, because you can't imagine a world where he's like, can you drop me? And Scream's like, no. Nah,
I feel like you can feel RPK's evil eyes through TeamSpeak.
So it's either the lack of a communication, or they actually specifically wanted to save some money, and maybe they do think like that because of go to those massive Mac 10 rounds, where they're like, well, this guy's going to go in first anyway. He's the bait for the trade. Oof. Oh, that's a really nice shot. So maybe that was the plan. Just RPK, you are the baits. And in that case, they do save some money.
But in that case, I would rather just have someone else be the bait than RPK.
Yeah, I can see that.
Of all the players he chooses to send in first, is creating havoc in Banana. Device with a quick trade, but gets a little bit too aggressive for his own good. Same thing with Kirby as well. And it's really nice follow-up from XMS, and that pretty much seals the deal. Glaive only stuck with a Z75.
I kind of like the peak from Device because the weaponry for Astralis kind of sucked, and I feel like he has got an orb, and so if anything is around the corner but another AWP, he's probably fine to either win the duel, or if there's no one there, then they have the information to know that it's going to be A, and I feel like they're in a spot where they really need that info, and he was the best player to be in that position. So from that perspective, I do like Device's play.
Yeah, I could definitely see the value behind it. But I think he could be fine by playing the slightly less passive angle, since he has an off. So there's a very high likelihood of him getting the first pick if ENVYUS decide to move on towards B. But I guess it is probably off of the fact that they want information and be able to stack up on a site. Doesn't quite pan out, so ENVYUS are going to get a 5th round, and so far a very good start, considering the fact that they did lose Pistol as well, and Glaive
just about
living on the edge.
That was hilarious. There was almost like a delay in the death animation there. It just started floating in the air.
Dies half a second after you fired the last bullet. It's travel time.
Well then, Device picks up some Kevlar to go with his Kevlar helmet to go with his AWP, which has just about been saved by Glaive. He'll continue with the CZ75. Ooh. We've got Kusta-esque plays.
I like this.
Yeah, we've seen this a lot from Kusta, and he often gets the early pick, but RPK will just be keeping the CTs honest by holding an off angle. There is a nice flash from RPK's position as well, where he just bounces a flash off the left wall, which goes into mid. Learn that one from Hiko and hold Inferno, but he was not expecting that.
That's just very solid map pressure from Astralis. with such a forward position on device that's able to just send people out aggressively in banana. And again, with the passive setup from ENVYUS side, RBK doesn't really have the opportunity to clear both angles. So even though they don't get a weapon, this is a massive get for them.
Oh, this could be really good too because the information spotted with jump peak. Glaive might find a good timing here for this Molotov. Toss it down.
Allows for the rotation to come in.
And also now there's the fear that he could be at sandbags, so they have to use utility, clean out sandbags. You can see there it is, the Molotov from the teaser. They just have to do it just to be safe. And that's important because that might mean there's less utility now for that site take. They still have enough though. They are lacking. Oh no, there's one smoke left on screen. And here comes the push. XMS first man in. Oh wow, just lawnmower mode. Straight through Glaive.
Close. 20 seconds for that plant to go down, and it will. So now it is Operation Save the AWP. Tipex trying to run distraction while Device gets across the cross. Perfect timing from him. Good support play, and the AWP escapes for the time being. See if the T's go for the hunt, but ENVY having a good T side so far, keeping the Astralis money poor.
Yeah, very solid so far. And again, a lot of the action is happening towards banana, as we kind of expected. Obviously, couple of wonky buys coming in from Astralis, so not expected that they do too much or put up too much resistance. But so far, pretty nicely done from ENVYUS. I think it's a tiny bit fortunate, obviously, that XMS finds the frag on Glaive while flashed. It's a really good flash from Glaive coming in from first oranges, and all he needs really in that situation is to get that one frag that's going to delay the push and actually allow ENVYUS up on the site. A bit of a pause coming in. Probably trying to figure out how they want to set up with a bit of a imperfect buy. They did manage to save the op on device, which is obviously a big get for them. So he's going to have full utility as well with it. But the rest of them are not going to be able to have the same luxury. And this is something I've not seen enough of, in my opinion, on CT sides of Inferno. Actually being able to utilize aggression towards the A-bomb side. We see obviously like a lot of the focus being towards banana if you want to play aggressively on CT, but I think there's definitely like an undiscovered way of playing CT side aggressively towards the apartment area that not a lot of teams have figured out quite yet. But I think that's something that you have to figure out if you want to know if you want to properly play low econ CT sides on this map.
Oh, what's Device up to? Oh, he's going for that awesome forward play that James mentioned that we see from Kusta. That's so fantastic. Six are even looking for a challenge, but Device just smashes him down with the AWP play. And now there's pressure on ENVYUS to try to do something in response here. They're taking Banana. RPK with a great pick off there. The entry frag, it works out. It does take a lot of damage though. And Device has rotated towards A. Does he push with a flash? Could find a great timing here as he moves forwards. Still challenging these angles. And, oh, the flick is off. It's close though, but the info's there. He knows there has to be at least 2 players on Banana, which is big information.
One of the issues for ENVYUS right now is the fact that they've grouped up. They've pretty much spent the last 40 seconds in Banana with all members alive. So they have, yeah, like you can see, Dupree's gotten a really forward position. This allows for a stack on the B-bomb site. And Dupree should be able to at least get 1 frag, then bail out, and or potentially get 2. So ENVY just being a bit too passive kind of screws with them here. Now they're just getting picked off. Really nice play by Dupree.
Yeah, again, he doesn't stop to take the fight with the other players. Just keeping the high ground. Fair chance he'd go down as well with all those players there. Just making sure he keeps control of this. So it's hard for the T's to plant the bomb. They are surrounded as well. Dupree just needs to stay alive here and run distraction, allow his teammates to get the kills, playing that really well. Again, we've seen good examples on the CT side of Train and now of Inferno. His presence is more of a threat than his gun in that situation, allowing his teammates to do the work. And they survive in numbers as well, which is what Astralis needs at the moment.
Definitely is.
That's a great round.
That was really solid. And again, it's partly because ENVYUS allowed them to get forward map control with stacking up so heavily towards Banana. So if you're ENVYUS in that scenario, it does suck, but oftentimes you just have to kind of live with the fact that you've given up so much map control that you commit to the B-bomb site. Even though it's going to be very obvious to Astralis, it might be your best bet regardless.
Astralis going for that boost setup. We see this
Yeah.
at least, you know, a couple times per match, it seems now on Inferno. The sprays in, the trade's there though, and Dupree just sits in position. Happy looks for him. Oh, the knife comes out. That's poor timing there for Dupree, and allows an equalizing kill, which is a shame for Astralis after the work they've done.
But again, cool to see that Astralis are willing to play aggressively over towards that A bomb site, because it does really mess up whatever map control. Again, like ENVYUS doesn't really have any map control at all at this point. Like they have vision over mid, but they have no idea what's going on over in apartments. No control over banana, and to get banana control at this point, they have to use quite a bit of utility to get up there safely, which again is going to take away from their really like oomph for an actual site take. Actually just being very ballsy, not using any utility at all, moving up there. Oh, I guess he doesn't really have any except for the smoke. Yeah, it's definitely potential for Astralis to just get one quick pick and then play extremely passive. And actually they're making just a blind rotation over towards B here with Stepnix playing extremely passive in Archway. So a lot of this is going to come down to Device here in Pit. No, Glaive, I mean.
Oh, that's a good position to play from. The smoke, of course, will allow ENVYUS to realize that he is there, but how will they find the kill on him? They can't exactly push the position, and Zipex is now finding himself over towards Graveyard. Takes down Scream as he tries to occupy himself with that pit presence. Glaive still just making noise as the T's are trapped on the site. In comes Device. There he goes. Oh, wow. Glaive straight through the smoke.
Oh, Sixer, no.
That's a really big frag. Glaive now in pursuit of Sixer. Can he find him? Yes, there it is. The defuse is live for the Astralis side. 4 rounds for them.
I'm not sure if Sixer had given away his position previously to that smoke either. I don't think, it didn't seem like at least Glaive had a good idea of where Sixer was playing for, so that smoke kind of gives up the jig. It's unfortunate for ENVYUS. They definitely had a good shot at actually winning that round, but again, it's a lot about like how Astralis decides to play these situations, how they never overcommit to taking fights. And again, Glaive could have very easily swung out wide after he puts down the smoke to try to deny a bomb plan or get a cheap frag here or there. But
speaking of aggression, Halvor, here it is.
Love it.
They don't even get a chance to get the frags there. Down in through the crawl space. Dupree able to get one, spotted out. Zipex around the back.
God.
This is just absolutely ridiculous. Another frag in the back for him, just dismantling.
There's a minute 30
the
on the
push.
clock.
It's crazy, isn't
There's
it?
a minute 30 on the clock. What is going on?
Only one of them died as well in that mid-aggression. That's crazy. So crazy.
No one's close enough to hear Happy jump. Can he get 2 kills? That's the question. 1 kill's not good enough. He's got to find 2 people.
Bomb's so exposed as well.
There's a double peek. And Boiler will end the misery of Envy. That was so fast.
That's awesome to see on like an actual gun round, because usually you don't see it against anything but ecos really.
I wonder if they did this on the if you consider it's at least twice where Device has looked, he's put a smoke down and then looked through the smoke and not found anybody. Well, I mean, he did kill somebody 1 time, but I wonder if they noticed a lack of presence in those positions from Envy and they chose to exploit it with a play like that.
Yeah.
It's not something you often see from them. On against a buy round.
Oh. But you can definitely tell that ENVY are very rigid in how they set up their default. It's always the same kind of a deal. Unless they want to get early banana control, they have RPK as a sole player towards Pit, oftentimes. It's very possible that Astralis have gotten us a whiff of that, really, and that's why we're seeing so much aggression through middle, more so than, for instance, apps.
Very good info though. Important challenge to win. He's got the bomb, and in fact, if his teammates get there to help him, there's utility to smoke off the bomb, but might not be the case. KIB has to try to survive towards their he'll fall, and the bomb, that means, can be rotated towards that A site, which is unfortunate for Astralis, but there's definitely still an opportunity. Zipex, after all, who's on the rotation. Glaive, big frag.
These T's don't have any Kevlar, so this is very doable. Well, not very doable, but it's doable for Astralis. And
I did nothing.
wonder. Oh, okay, because he's outside. Couldn't tell from the X-ray. So 2 on 2. XMS of the AWP, 6 of the M4. No smoke grenade shenanigans this time from the T side. So maybe one of them gets choked out. Glaive The distraction of the balcony allows Sixer to get the kill from the pit. Jump peaks. Nothing doing there for Zipex. He's got no kit either, which is maybe why he's starting to back off now. The T's trying to double peek, which is kind of scary with no Kevlar. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe they realized he wasn't going for it and tried to take him out, but that is one way to potentially lose the round with no Kevlar when he's not defusing the bomb.
That's a round, obviously, where you see the aggression of Astralis not panning out. Scream finding an early frag in window here on Dupree as he tries to find an early frag, and then the follow-up on Device, which really sets everything off balance. But still, like, I'd like to see teams not deter from being aggressive off of those kind of plays. And ooh, still aggression coming out 5 HP on Device.
Man. So it looks like, I can only guess that whoever lost the AWP in the first place had a better spawn, and then Device went to retrieve it, and it all just collapsed.
By the way, I'm not sure if they set up the timing like that, but I like the detail that they throw the Molotov, you know, that's in the fallback position first,
yeah,
and then the forward Molotov.
Just like fully bloomed by the time the guy has to retreat.
Exactly, yeah. It was a little bit too. It could have been a bit more. It could have been.
Yeah,
the timing could have been slightly better, but
yeah.
it was awesome. Yeah, that was
still done a ton of
right
damage
idea
on the guys playing B.
Yeah, that's a very good point. The health is very low. And they've reinforced that position as well.
Oh, that's a shot. So right now, Astralis in a bit of no man's land. 3 players stacked over towards B, and I think this is a similar scenario as to what we saw on Train, really, where they just kind of have to bank on one bomb site being where they make their stand.
Yeah, and the information for ENVYUS now is so huge. They can obviously they have that man advantage. They can use it in Scream's case to try to ascertain what the setup is like for the CTs, and right now Scream's realizing, okay, there's no one here in middle, so it really suggests another stack. Does he think that they're stacked towards A? Because they're moving in towards B. This doesn't really make much sense. Straight into Device, he gets the first flick shot as well, and this could go south if Device hits another couple of shots.
Oh, Device continues to deliver as Glaive makes a push through the smoke, but he won't be able to stop the bomb plant. Device is looking for an ace in this situation, but Kiabi will come in from the back. Now it's Sixer in construction versus 2. There's a kit onto Kiabi. Do they know where he is? He scopes. I don't know if it gave his position away. It doesn't look like it. Kiabi still looking towards construction, but the other end of it. Oh, very, very nice. Runs past the angle. I thought he was going to walk straight into the crosshair, but perfect play from Kiabi, and Astralis win around.
They bungled this massively. What on earth have they done? What have they done?
Again, it's just a weird situation where they have the man advantage, so they can actually throw bodies at an issue more so than not to actually get the information they need to make a good decision. And
this is why I mentioned mid to late round on the T side for MV, because it's not their strongest point.
It's definitely weird, because if I'm in that game and I'm telling Scream to basically sacrifice himself towards that A bomb site just to figure out any sort of information.
That's exactly what I thought he was going to do.
Yeah, and instead he swings in, and especially because he makes a run for it as well through Speedway, so he gives up any sort of like sneaky momentum or like potential to do a proper backstab, and he doesn't really have any effect on the push at all.
Like, when Scream was around Arch, I was like, they have set this round up so well.
Yeah.
Like, it's perfect. But then they just, bungled it. Oh, well.
But now they have ZZ, so it's fine.
Yeah, they have ZZs. It is fine. It is very fine. Kirby is in position still towards the pit spot, which is really important. Obviously, some of these players do have armor, so that's going to help them out, but RPK doesn't.
Oh, Sixer didn't either. There we go. Down he goes to Device, but yeah, I can see RPK making the run for it. And he's going to get probably, heard by Device here. Well, actually gives up his position, decides to go aggressive. And meanwhile, Happy on a lurk.
Oh, this is so weird.
RPK!
No. Oh, wow. He didn't
now
realize.
You just have to sit and wait. RPK just has to play this super passively and allow for Happy to get close.
Oh my god, this is so awkward. He's got 2 bullets.
Well done. Again, CZ's working out pretty nicely. I think they got all 5 kills.
That is
Who would have thunk it?
Yeah, that's so weird.
But if I'm not mistaken, Dupree had an AWP in quad side.
Yeah,
that round.
I think so. Yeah.
Which is obviously not the weapon of choice for Dupree, 99.9% of the time.
Credit to Envy though. They got up close around Boiler and so on, and used the flashbangs for the close quarters engagements.
Yeah, that's something Envy are really, really good at, actually, setting themselves up for those close combat situations. Something they've always been really good at. All of Happy's teams have been really solid at. It's one of the reasons why they find so much success in their pistol rounds. It's not necessarily just because they have very strong pistols. They also set themselves up for success in a big way. And so far, this is looking to be a pretty nice T side for ENVYUS.
Yeah, they're definitely looking very good for 9 rounds, but there's still a couple of smokes for the Astralis side to play with. And with Sixer on the AWP, that's going to slow their movement down somewhat, so the smokes might actually be a bit more potent than otherwise they would be. Obviously, at this point, ENVYUS have all the relevant map control. This will have to make the play. Device lurking around the abs, trying to find the perfect timing to go in. He might have just found that timing. There it is. Tap, finds XMS, gets the gun, on the way back out. Re-engagement here with the AK-47. The wild spray comes in. It's good for the kill onto Happy, and just like that, a trio of frags. Knives come out. Does Device go for it? Back to the AK. Sixer is able to evade him, but not for too long. Device with the cutoff, and that's the round for Astralis. What a weird one.
Yeah. And like, while all of that is happening, Sipnix just takes out the entire banana crew from ENVYUS with the ZZ. I hate that weapon.
Not a fan. Not a fan.
Not a fan at all. I'm all about, like, I think it's fun that you have certain positions in the game, like, let's say drop room or pop dog, etc., where you can have alternative, you know, usage in weapons and whatnot, but I just don't see...
Just make it crap like the revolver.
Yeah, no, honestly, just make it not be a thing. RPK is going to go aggressive into segment. Actually spots out 2 people, so...
I like that, actually, like the jump peek through the window.
Yeah, instead of taking the challenge and just dying horribly.
That's actually awesome. I like that a lot. That's really cool. Okay, well, ENVYUS, they do respond to that information. They've got 4 towards A. It's quite a death trap they set up for Astralis should they want to push up towards top mid. They're going to run into these 2-man crossfire setups.
I'm a bit worried about how they approach holding apps in this kind of a situation, though. Obviously, it's a numbers game. They might not assume that, you know, Astralis are going to put 3 people out, apps, anything like that, but I don't see how XMS is going to get multiple frags to the set to pressure it. And, ooh, a bit of a poor angle chosen from Glaive.
Trade, though, starts it all off, and he's going to come out on top after this is said and done, after the dust settles. Well, it looks like it's going to be a problem for Astralis. They still have to get the bomb planted, and they're down a man. Plenty of time, though, and the smoke will alleviate some pressure to free up Device for that plant.
Still a flash on Sixer side. They do have Diffuse Kit as well. So time to play with here. It seems like Sixer's just going to hang out behind quad here and wait for the rest of his teammates. Question is whether or not he's going to use the flash towards site or pit. Yeah. Here we go.
Now it allows Scream to come in from the long area at the same time. So crossfires for both teams, but which one will prevail on the T1?
Nice
with the last kills. Sixer and Happy will get... oh no, so Happy gets a helmet for $350 in the next round.
That's the best feeling ever.
Kevlar. It is.
It's like, you get so angry when you've bought up like light Kev and then you don't get hit by a player, but you get hit by like a stray nade that just takes 1 armor off you. So annoying.
Yep, that's the GG.
Yeah, or you have a teammate who just shoots you at the end of the round. Shoots you in the chest. Thank you for that. I
feel like that's a punishable offense. If somebody does to someone, like during boot camp or something, if someone does that to you, they deserve to get, you know, some actual punishment.
I may or may not have done that in the past.
2 people or punched people?
No. I just like shot my mate when he just to annoy him.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm that
like
guy.
the worst kind of teammate, aren't you, Bartol?
I am, yeah. I am.
Oh, ENVYUS getting off to a strong start, at least this time around. Don't have to claw back from losing a pistol like they did in the first half. And we're not seeing an investment like we saw from ENVYUS side for the Danes, at least. No CZ, Kevlar. Guess this is off of the back of getting a bomb plant, so they want to get that 3rd round by.
Ooh, Happy going, Sixer going forward in isolation with the SMG.
Oh, what are you doing, Happy?
Oh my
Hungry
God.
for the kills. This is a bit of a mess for Envy, but perhaps RPK can clean it up. Not the wrong time to pull out a grenade. XMS will save him. That could have been even worse for Envy.
So with Happy right there, that was just, he was afraid to commit. Basically,
yeah.
He's like, this spot
kind
is
of
not
think
optimal, but you got to commit regardless.
When I see Happy do that, I'm kind of well, you know, no pun intended. I'm kind of happy about the fact that he doesn't fully commit, because in the past he's had a bit of a tag on being a bit of an eco hunter. So the fact that he does show some sort of restraint. I like to see. I don't like the fact that he pulls out his knife instead of just backing off with his basically weapon pointed in the right direction as he falls back to side because he knows players are right around the corner.
Yeah, he definitely got a bit flustered with that situation.
First buy round. Not a ton of utility, honestly, on the side of Astralis in terms of like creating space for themselves. No Molotovs left. 4 smokes though, but they haven't gotten banana control properly.
Well, XMS is dead.
Yep. So,
Fact-finding mission from XMS. He found himself some facts.
Yeah. It's weird though, like in a situation where Astralis don't actually get banana control with the utility used, Envy kind of just give them an opportunity to get it back. And now Scream is left alone on that B bomb site, all alone with no utility either. So I'm super surprised that there hasn't been any sort of rotation over.
Trying to buy time of the UMP, but we are asking a lot of Scream in that situation. So
now you save if you're Envy. Sixer's already gotten himself to a really awkward position. He just has to bail out. Okay, smart decision.
So I guess Envy took calculated risks in just launching XMS down banana on his own.
I guess he has an MP9, so if you can catch somebody off and you get a 1-for-1 trade, that's a situation you can be okay with, considering the weaponry. But I would have been in that situation happy with the fact that you didn't allow Astralis to get around the short wall of banana with all the utility that they used.
I'm surprised they, if I remember correctly, there was a smoke down the bottom of banana, but there was also a smoke by a tree. So I'm surprised that XMS just went on his own instead of going for Scream, so at least they can trade in that situation, because they've isolated all but one area, right? So it's I don't know, it seems like a half investment to me by only sending XMS when the other areas were smoked off.
It did seem like a bit of a situation where Envy would have been completely fine with just giving it up 1-for-1. And that was really all they were looking to do. It doesn't really seem like they had a long-term plan for that move. It doesn't really pan out as well either, seeing how there was no rotation over towards the B bomb side. Lucrative round for Astralis there, not dropping a lot of players, and that's going to go a long way if they end up losing this one.
It's always nice to see, for example, we saw Glaive there on the balcony, sort of just on the bridge, just pressuring through apps, just spamming it because it's so wall bangable. You can just, like all those bullets, hailing down does make it easier for your teammates to get in there, and it does disincentivize the CT side from
ever pushing.
Yeah, from pushing those positions, and so it's a bit annoying. But you can also do that, and it provides presence from very far away, and sort of the implication that you're going to be taking it as the T side without ever having to even put players there. So there is some small mind games to be played in that.
How long do you think it'll take before someone puts on their goggles and binoculars really and just figure out the angle from the CT perspective?
Right.
To basically like do the counter wall bang. Because there's like a set angle that you have to use. There's a very limited amount of space you can stay in as a T to do that. And this is Happy.
Yeah, this is a really nice push from Astralis. Good coordination trying to wrap the bomb site. Happy's position indeed is strong, however, in Graveyard there's a 3-1. The trade attempt is good. Glaive is there. So is Zipex with the fire, and that's pit cleared. So the post-plant setup is looking good here for Astralis.
Scream trying to pepper, but he won't be able to yield a kill. 3 high health players here for Astralis, and XMS has been spotted now, and Glaive does not need to re-peek anytime soon. Double peek comes in from a teammate, and the trade will be there for Astralis. Nice decisive play from the Danish side. Seems that Sixer has been given a difficult job where his teammates are playing on the site in a crossfire, but then he is up deep towards the arch position, so I mean he had a UMP, so
getting one frag was decent in that situation, but I'm curious if it's a case of his only job is really to spot for information and then fall back, and that's a case of him not falling back far enough.
I do wonder if he had an M4, if he would have been closer to the library position, the corner wall
decided to
towards the
long
side.
CZ's out again in full force, and as you would expect, just loving life.
At least they decide they understand that they can go straight into B. I mean, to be honest, there is no choice. Like if they actually waited around, and I think there is actually a world where there's some teams that would actually wait before going into B there because they haven't seen all 5 players, so they may not they may not understand that they have a window of opportunity here to still take the round.
Oh my god.
If you beat the rotation of the CTs, which they've done effectively, and you can see that it's very difficult without Kevlar to do much here.
Kiabi got traded. I think he got traded through the smoke.
Yeah, I'm pretty
The
sure it
CT
did.
smoke. Traces. Well, might be about damage now because the bomb is quite ticked. Device spotted in construction. I don't know that there's time to do a lot.
Oh. Nice shot from the West, but they're just trying to box them into it to try to make them go up with the bomb. Not going to happen though. But still, like for the investment that ENVYUS make in that round, being able to take 3 weapons away from Astralis is still very good. I would have been okay with them deciding to save those 2 AKs as well. Basically, drop them off to whoever didn't have a ZZ in hand, and
Drop them off to
bail it.
not RPK.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, the recovery there from Astralis was really good. They found the timing which gave them the best chance to win the rounds.
Yeah.
They could definitely have messed it up if they waited.
Oh, XMS. XMS.
Oh god, that is so awkward.
God.
That's so awkward.
But you should realize that, like, you should know at this point and at this level that the Molotov's gonna spread eventually. And
Yeah, but I think
given
he
the
just
trajectory of it,
hopes.
you should know where it spreads to as well.
I think he was just hoping, you know, that this would be the time it doesn't spread to where he's standing. It's wishful thinking, Alvor.
Hoping is something you can do in church.
I like that. 3 players looking for this duel. Scream still going to go back and re-peek and of course deliver a kill. Why not? XMS being
XMS so close.
teased, but he will fall off. Smart stuff.
At least they know the position from Kirby.
Scream still going for it.
Device.
Flashes from teammates and he is holding this down with some support, but
It's very well recovered from ENVYUS there. Okay.
oh dear.
What?
I think because he was still moving.
Running
When he took
accuracy.
his shot, it's just like, this bullet's going to go this way.
Oh, you hate to see it.
Yeah, great hold from ENVYUS. They did a fantastic job here. The flashbang, that flashbang in particular for Paul, brilliant stuff there for ENVYUS. I mean, you guys just spoke about the flash play.
Yeah, ENVYUS do set themselves really well up with flashbangs actually. So it's more so noticeable with them than a lot of other teams, and I'm not sure why it's so evident with them compared to other ones.
Well, the abs take here from Astralis, the default that's being set up as they start to investigate Banana as well.
And I do have to say that so far, when we've seen, trying to get banana control, ENVYUS have been, obviously they decided to invest a lot more utility into it whenever they wanted to take banana control, but they've also been a lot more successful with it than what we've seen from Astralis.
6R delivering the 2nd kill. There are flashes. His teammate will go down. Can Glaive get the 2nd one? He can. Man advantage for his side. Bomb needs to be collected. And I think Zipek's making his way onto the site. Scream picked off in the rotation. And that might just shut down the round. XMS surely just been spotted. Device makes his way into the pit, and that is the round over.
I'm not sure about Scream's run there.
I think it's one of those situations where you're just so certain that Astralis have committed everything they have towards that A-bomb site.
Yeah, it's also possible again that you could get the miscommunications where someone could have called like all A.
Yeah.
They're all A, and so at that point you sort of drop your guard and you're like, okay, this is the fastest
The
route.
lazy information call where you go like, yeah, everybody's here.
I love those. I love those calls.
Oh yeah.
Or when someone just says, it's A. That's the worst.
Again, punchable offense.
What does that mean? Someone threw a flashbang. Oh, okay. Let's all rotate A then. They've planted A. Oh, well, would you look at that? Dupree has some support from his teammate. XMS will he be checked for though?
How is he
Not
still
quite yet. The reload comes in. He tries to punish it, holding the Molotov, and he's still alive.
What the hell?
And there we go, device to punish. Super awkward stuff. But 3 players alive for Astralis. They've got the bomb as well. And they're not committing to anything just yet. Keeping the bomb in a safe place while they identify where Happy is. You never know where Monsieur Happy will be lurking. But often when he's the last man standing, he doesn't have a shift button. He's going from the back. And may end up meeting the bomb.
Still hasn't moved though. Alright, so Happy does have the potential to actually pick up a device here and find a weapon, but without Kevlar Kit, obviously very limited as to what he can hope to do in the grand scheme of things. But again, economic damage being done if he's able to find that 3rd frag. Or just hold on to an AK.
Denied. ENVYUS guarding the guns.
I think his hall pass revoked.
What is a hall pass? I don't know what a hall pass
Hall
is.
pass, I think it's from like U.S. schools when you had to like go to the bathroom during class break. You're given a hall pass. So when the hall monitor, whatever the guy who's like tasked to just walk around in the halls finds
so
you, you're golden.
I have this pass.
Yeah, I'm allowed to do whatever I want.
Look at my pass.
It's all access.
Damn. Hall pass. But I've never needed a hall pass.
See, now I want to see Sixer go wide and try to just wall bang the guy on the bridge. Because why not? Okay.
Isn't there a film called Hall Pass?
Probably is.
Probably, yeah.
Some trashy film, probably. Let's make a film named after the pass you get when you need to take a slash.
Again, Envy playing passively in Banana, so Banana can be given up. But Astralis haven't really seemed too keen on actually taking a lot of Banana control. So gonna come out towards A instead. Oh, is there gonna be a gap in that smoke?
Ooh.
That would have been so sick if there's actually a gap there.
Kirby's made his way towards Speedway. Has he been spotted by Scream? Is there a plan B here for Astralis? They have reasonable positioning. The bomb is now in Library, so if Kirby can get a pick, but Scream has seen him.
That's unfortunate, but that might actually force or like set the rotation over towards B because they expect a B split to come in here.
Glaive might shoot his teammate.
Oh.
And it all kicks off. RPK with great burst. But can he find a second one? Device will take him down to the balcony position. And there Sixer goes. Taken out by Zipex. Maybe committing to one peak. And that might just be the round, although Envy are close.
I wonder how much money, what the money situation's like for them. ENVYUS takes down XMS, and indeed, they are without any cash. It's a save for them. So if Scream can save the AK, they can have a player that can do something in the following rounds, but yeah, it's looking pretty rough for ENVYUS. They're really losing grip of this match now. Astralis moving to 13 rounds. Looking like they're setting themselves up for the W here.
And what's interesting to me is that one of the first team I saw actually experimenting with aggression towards, especially apps, was ENVYUS initially when Inferno was still a bit fresher. So a bit worried about the fact that we haven't seen too much of that. We saw the one pistol round where they had a lot of action happening in apps, obviously, but like 4 buy rounds as well. Trying to put pressure on the T side, much more like what we saw Astralis do on their CT side, even though it didn't necessarily give them a massive net gain in rounds over the course of the first half. Still think it's the right way to approach it, especially because Astralis haven't really shown any big interest of taking Banana super hard in a lot of the default rounds.
Fast banana take from Astralis. Oh, caught off guard. I love it. Very fast anti-eco round. And there's no chance for ENVYUS to respond. They just are completely outpaced in this one. And that's really cool too. Astralis, they have yet to break the choke point, not forcing the issue. I'm going to be doubling back towards A now that they've got the information as to where ENVYUS are.
That's an important kill from Zipex, especially as rifles have been collected. But he will eventually go down. So what does Happy choose to do? The bomb's just been planted, and there are his options taken away. Dupree advancing through CT spawn. 14-11 as Envy go back in for the buy. 5,500 average for the side. See what the AWP situation is for them. And there won't be one.
Yeah. I think that's fine, especially because we've seen Sixer play towards the A site more often than not. I think Op is not going to have too much of an impact unless he wants to go aggressive like we saw Device do. Okay, a bit of a hopeful peek from Zipnix there, not checking towards Boiler.
Yep.
At least we see some forward positioning from ENVYUS as well, and that's going to net them an early kill. And again, we see that double molly combo. Oh god, that's hopeful.
Yeah, good response from Astralis. They lose that player in apps, go straight for an explosion up towards top banana, take that map control away, force the fight, and actually even things up as well with that kill onto Scream. So now, whilst all that has been happening, Dupree's been clearing out the apps. So Astralis are a team that are always really good at maintaining map control whilst doing things at the same time.
Yeah.
Whereas some teams, they, as you said, Havor, are very rigid with their defaults and aren't as malleable as Astralis are in this way.
I still like the way ENVYUS are set up here. Flash is going to be perfect though.
Oh,
Forty-Green
wow.
is actually going to find Happy as well.
That's huge.
Yeah. If they get the 1-for-1 trade in that situation, Happy is still in a similar situation as we saw with Glaive, where his single goal is just to survive for as long as possible, and that could be enough. He doesn't need to get a second kill in that round as well.
I would love to see a breakdown of that round because you saw Dupree pull a knife out. So for trajectory purposes, the smoke is already on the balcony, and he just runs off the balcony with the timing where the flashbangs land to flash the CT players, and then away he goes. So I'd love to see where those flashes went and the timing of them, because that was a pretty strong strat.
Yeah, definitely hit RPK. I'm not sure if Happy got flashed in the same go. I'm not really sure like where Happy is actually aiming towards. If he's basically just aiming straight up from below the balcony up towards it, then obviously he's going to get flashed by those as well.
There we go. There were 2 flashes involved. I think Happy was focused on a short area, looking over the hay bales. And that's before we even mentioned that Scream just ran into the corner, but he was quite obviously heard by the T's who were close.
Yeah, up in
Maybe
banana.
he thought they'd be further away if there were Molotovs down, but they weren't. And they just sprayed him. They're like, I hear Scream, he's probably in this corner, let's spray the corner. And away Scream went, launched into the birds.
And I think it was a situation where he saw the double mollies coming in for sandbags and obviously his exit route, so he figured, this is the best hope I have of actually doing anything. Doesn't quite pan out, and instead, Astralis on map point. Decent enough buy coming in, considering the situation ENVYUS find themselves in. Not going to have all the perfect weaponry, but not too bad. And again, though, still would like to see ENVYUS starting off the round in a similar fashion as to what they did. But I don't want to see aggression on both sides of the map from the CT side. But either opts to just have an aggressive stance in banana or actually try to take apps control. Seems like they're doing a boost instead in quad.
Yeah, and they all hear Astralis running about. But again, this is Astralis' default. They got that top banana control, so they're sort of just taking apps. They're not looking to go too hard into top mid just yet. They're balanced, just as you said, not too aggressive in one spot if they're aggressive elsewhere. And speaking of which, that's a good frag from XMS. And given that, Astralis will say, you know what, we'll give this one up. We are going to go back towards top middle. We do not like to push into B there. That contact play failed. There's the flashbang for Dupree. Take anybody off of the angles here as he pushes out towards quad. Oh, Glaive getting the boost onto Dupree.
There's a flash for Sixer, and that's the kind of play I would have expected to see earlier on. But again, he didn't have the M4 last time, and this time it works out. The M4, longer range, the flashbangs from his teammates, but can he support a short player? He can. Crossfire working out very well, as are the trades for Envy in this round. They're only 4 behind, looking likely for 3. Happy takes out Kiabi. So they survive with 4 players as well, crucial for their economy at this point.
That was really cool, by the way, because Sixer throws the flash for his teammates to play off of around quad, as he's getting flashed into the arch peak. Yeah. That's really awesome.
Again, ENVYUS setting up themselves in really good positions with flashes.
That was very cool.
Because normally in a position like that, if you're Sixer, it's just really tough to play if you're getting pinched from arch at the same time as they're allowed to push up pretty far as T's on the quad side as well, because you don't really have anywhere to go. You don't have a cubby anymore that's deep enough for you to hide in without being exposed from multiple positions. So yeah, setting yourselves up with flashes like that is just really well done. And on Astralis' end, I think it's a perfectly valid play for them to go for the contact towards B, because they haven't really done it up till this point either. They still have rounds to play off of. Again, we're seeing the boost on quad because that didn't get spotted out in the previous round, so it's still, I guess, an unknown entity for Astralis to deal with. Oh.
Whoa!
Ooh.
You have to be joking.
Well then.
That's what happens when devices on the AK.
Yeah.
Dupree around a boiler position with the AWP at the moment, looking for an opening on the balcony.
Astralis again just deciding to go on contact here after finding the first frag. He did this in the previous round results. Really well done by XMS though to find 2 frags. Meanwhile, Sixer finds Sipnix as well. Dupree's gonna get the trade, but they don't really gain any ground off of this. And the refeed doesn't work out, so all by his lonesome, Kirby tries to take over that B-bomb set finally, but XMS did a really, really good job there. I think the only thing you can really fault Astralis on doing is probably not being grouped up enough to potentially get a trade, but I think that was more down to XMS doing a really good job. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, this was really good. There's a trade frag attempt, failed. I don't think Glaive could even see where XMS was. He was so fast. And here's the half buy from Astralis. They want to save so they can have a full buy for the last rounds, so they can get that win. And who knows, maybe they can do some huge damage on this round. Maybe not.
Bit of an awkward situation for Screen to be in. Seems like he wants to commit fully in a situation where he doesn't necessarily have to. Still works out for them. So only 1 player left on the side of Astralis, and Sipnix is going to find Happy, but ENVYUS looking pretty good as of right now. Gonna have a full buy, all the utility in the world as they go up against not so great. Actually, ooh, that's a bit of interesting. Dupree obviously having that AK in the previous round.
I kind of like that he went for the AK in the previous round.
But now he doesn't have the utility, and we've seen so far what Astralis have been successful with is predominantly actually setting up with a lot of utility towards that A bomb site. So they're going to be lacking in that department, and it's also again going to limit the amount of utility they can use to take banana control if they want to choose that.
Maybe they'll sort of put Dupree in a position where he can make an individual play.
Oh, he's actually going to go for a Galil instead of an AK, so not deciding to skip, and that makes the buy in the previous round even a bit weirder for me.
Double orb
as well
for ENVYUS.
Oh, I'm not a big fan of that.
Yeah, Happy's picked up the second one. He's really good with the AWP, but Inferno, is it the right map?
I think like rotations become way too hard unless you find a lot initially. If Astralis decides to slow play this, then I think it's going to be really tough for ENVYUS. Like if ENVYUS are not the ones to be the aggressor and find the opening frags, then they might be in for a bit of a rough time. And it is going to be a slow approach from Astralis as well. Again, not deciding to take banana control super early with a lot of utility, so they're still holding on to a lot of that. They haven't met a lot of resistance really either in banana in that sense. Seems like ENVYUS are pretty happy and content with giving up banana control early on, instead of setting up with a boost on B, similar to what we saw a couple of rounds ago. We saw the setup with Scream towards Coils and XMS on the boost. So we're seeing smokes being deployed in mid. It's just a slow approach from Astralis, and again, they've done a really good job of actually holding on to essential utility up to this point. Still have the Molotovs for pit.
CT flashbang was pretty deep. Might tell him that someone's close. Happy willing to hold the angle and not give up that map control, but now he might be in trouble. Manages to escape and even take down Dupree. 37 seconds left, but the bomb is heading towards the B bomb site. Will they be able to wrap with 1 player? Scream so close, but not quite landing the shot there. Going for another aggression through the smoke. Will XMS be checked for? They'll have to worry about new box as well. 1 for 1, 3 on 3.
It's big damage done either side. Pete still running amok around the smoke with the orb rotation to construction.
On the Sipnix though, and in prime position, he's going to go completely unnoticed here.
This is what you talked about as well. The double AWP on the retake here on these rotations.
So what do you do in this situation?
They don't have any utility to use either. They've got kits, but flashbangs and smokes would go a long way here. Indeed, great angle. The spray is coming down there, and it's finished off by Kirby. 16 to 14, Astralis put it over the line in the end. It was a good effort from ENVYUS though, and I think, you know, we set it up like this, I think, in the pre-game. But ENVYUS no slouches on Inferno.
No, definitely not. We've seen some great games from them, and I don't think this was a bad game from them initially.